If other members want to add other things, that's fine. I have no problem. But I just want to kind of make sure I don't slip between the lip and the cup. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, the next one, number 13, is probably not going to be quite as popular, and it probably might be a little bit controversial. Last Saturday week, the people in Harold's Cross were absolutely devastated, particularly at the washboard. This is a laundry that is one of the few in Dublin that wash and iron and starch laundry. And they provide a service for, the area around. And in fact, to demonstrate my point, there was one particular woman who was saying to me that she used to cycle, but now that she has a balance problem, she has no alternative but to drive. And here on a Saturday morning, where people are trying to, and including in that is the hospice. This place actually does the laundry for the hospice in Harold's Cross. And when the people are coming to use and to drop in their laundry, they're being clamped. Now, I mean, the thing is that surely Saturday morning, and I get a reply here, which is a little bit like something from the civil service. They can be that there's no, I mean, the report just doesn't relate to what I'm talking about at all. And it says, well, there's no clear way on Sundays, so that people can bring their laundry on a Sunday. I absolutely, I would have thought from 10 to 12 is a reasonable time for the village. This woman, I mean, really what's going to happen here is they're going to have to close up. So number one, they won't be able to function in the village. And number two, people with the nearest place that I know that you can get your laundry ironed and starched is in Milltown. There are no buses there. So people are going to have to even travel an awful lot more. So let's look at the logic of all of this. And I know that when we mention anything on four wheels, I have to tell you, it reminds me when I was growing up and when we used to get these sermons from the pulpit about sins of the flesh and that sex was an occasion of sin. I feel every time four wheels is mentioned now, it's a bit like an occasion of sin. So let's kind of bring some kind of balance. We want to discourage people from using their cars, but I mean, do we want to make our villages busways and cycleways, and that businesses can no longer actually function there? So I'm talking about some kind of common sense and balance in all of this, which is badly needed. So, people seem to be concerned about their urban villages, but, this doesn't make it easier. So I would like some more thoughtful response from the traffic department.
Okay, thanks. And we will try not to have the two things together. Pat Dunn, I have your hand up. I have Anne Feeney's hand. I have Claire O'Connor's and I have Carolyn Moore's. I don't know for all for this issue. So Pat Dunn. Gone. Claire O'Connor. Gone. Can you take down your hand, please? Carolyn Moore.
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, it's a little bit dismissive of Councillor Freehill to say, oh, people care about their urban villages, as if illegal parking has to be part and parcel with that. We can't continually turn a blind eye. Cars are clamped when they're parked illegally, and we cannot continually turn a blind eye to illegal parking. Sometimes it's in a cycleway, sometimes it's on a footpath. We've just heard Tara speak about the issues in Kimmage. We know now, for example, cars are getting bigger and bigger. It's impossible to see children now at this stage from the driver's seat. There's so many issues wrapped up in this, and what we need actually is to make sure that we have ample legal parking in our urban villages that allows people to access the shops. That doesn't necessarily and shouldn't necessarily also always mean that they can park directly outside the shop and take 5 steps out of their car into the shop. We're too embedded, we're too wedded to that mindset in Ireland, and we're too lenient and too inclined to turn a blind eye to this. So I agree that a balance has to be found, and I'm more than happy to have a balanced conversation about that. But we cannot keep coming here and coming to the Traffic and Transport SPC week after week, month after month, asking for enforcement on illegal parking, and then asking looking for specific cases where we actually don't enforce, or we turn a blind eye, or we ask for enforcement with a wink and a nudge, but not really here because somebody needs to use this business. That can't be how it works. Thanks.
Okay, Tara Deasy.
Sorry, I'd be really brief. I think Councillor Moore raised a good question, or a good point, and Councillor Friel, I can understand, you know, what you're talking about in terms of that local business specifically. But I'm wondering, in some other, in rural areas, they do a half-an-hour free parking on a Saturday morning, or something along those lines. Sorry, Mary, I was just saying, in rural areas, they do like a half-an-hour free parking, we'll say, for example, on a Saturday morning, or something along those lines. And I think when we don't have provision for parking, you know, there is a difficulty for small businesses. And I'm wondering if there's something we could do, you know, in Harold's Cross. Is there somewhere that we could have a specific half-an-hour free parking somewhere, like we could do something like that in Kimmage as well, so that we're getting the balance right in a way that we're growing our small communities, businesses can remain open and sustainable, but that we're not kind of, I suppose, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm just wondering if that could be maybe even trialled coming up to Christmas, maybe on a Saturday in a particular designated spot, because I think both councillors have brought up, you know, really valid points in terms of what we're trying to achieve collectively, you know.
Okay, Councillor Friel, do you want to say anything? Jerry, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Okay, if I just start with the pedestrian crossings. Okay, prior to spring 2021, the only pedestrian crossings I looked at were on single carriageway. So that's one lane of traffic going one way and one lane of traffic going the other way. And that was up until spring of this year. Since the spring of this year, I've been now told that I need to consider junctions. But that's why maybe there's a confusion there with why junctions took so long. That prior to spring 2021, junctions were being dealt with by the Sustainable Mobility and Projects team. But since then, I'm going to be dealing with these. So that's why maybe there's a bit of confusion with why things weren't being done the way you maybe wish they had been done. With regards to along the canal.
The Sally's Bridge now you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, sorry. There is, from my understanding, there is a cycling project going in there at the moment. It's what's it called now? The South Grand Canal Cycle Scheme. So that's going along the canal. So if that's going, and that's been given funding, and I believe it's been ring fenced. So if that's going in, then there needs to be changes to the junctions along that route. So it's up to that team to decide about pedestrian crossings. It's not a scheme that I'm involved in. With regards to Harold's Cross and the washboard. The washboard's been there for quite a while. There's a clearway that's been in operation on that section of Harold's Cross Road since 2009. So there's a gap between 10 and 12 p.m. Monday to Saturday where people can park and avail of the washboard area if they so wish. The issue that has to be balanced here, or the issue that we need to look at, is that's a busy bus route. And if at the end, the area engineer at the time decided to put in this clearway, so we have a cycle lane there. And if I give Councillor Friel what she wants, what will happen is cars will simply park for quite a considerable distance, and they'll then have to go into general traffic. And there's a bus lane. It's a busy bus route, and they're going to be then conflict between buses and cyclists. So cyclists will have to pull out to avoid cars that are parking to avail of the washboard, and then they're going to be involved with buses. So there's a 2-hour gap there, Monday to Saturday, where people can avail of.
That's gone.
As far as I know, that's
No, that changed.
Let him answer, Mary, because there is a conflict.
That clearway is in operation. So there's a 2-hour gap that people can use to use the Centra and the washboard. That's why it was implemented. And with regard to the other junctions, I'll be looking at junctions towards the end of the year, and I'll have a list of junctions that I feel need to be prioritised, and they will be submitted for the consultants to give us a design on. Any other questions?
May I reply?
Yeah.
There seems to be some misunderstanding about Harold's Cross, because the 10 to 12 was actually it was between 10 and 12 on Saturday morning week that they were actually clamped.
Well, I have no. I'm not.
So I think
don't know.
that definitely changed, because I questioned it at the time. So there's no window there at all, and I think that's the problem.
Okay, can I ask the manager to get clarity for Councillor Friel on that from the parking enforcement?
Yeah. Okay.
people?
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And I didn't get the full thing about the Sally's Bridge and all the others, but I suppose the bottom line is that if we keep it on the agenda every month, at least we know what's happening. And did I say then that you'll be in contact with Ashdale to clarify?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'll speak to
Lovely.
Party
Thank
about that.
you
But
very
with regards to Clough Road, I did explain that there was a South Grand Canal cycle scheme going in place there. So there's a team involved with that, and any changes that need to be made to the pedestrian crossings along the canal, they'll be the ones to make it.
They'll be the ones.
Yes, it's not a scheme that I'm involved in.
Sorry, there's something wrong with the sound. I couldn't get. There's no skin of something, is what I heard.
The South Grand Canal cycle scheme has been ring fenced to go in along the canal. So that will mean that it will have to go across various junctions, which will be changes to pedestrian crossings, and they will be the ones to make those changes. It won't be something that I'll be involved in.
When?
That I have no idea. That's another. It's another team.
That's the big issue. You see, it's like it's the road to by and by that's leading to the house of never.
It's not my scheme, councillor. I can't make a comment on something I'm not involved in. I'm not privy to anything. They haven't told me anything. I don't know.
Okay, so maybe the way to handle this is to keep it on the agenda every month, and then we might get actual.
Jerry,
fair enough. And we look for clarity on the.
One at a time. Just let Councillor Friel finish, and Councillor Conroy was in first.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah.
Just let her finish.
Sorry, I thought she was. My apologies.
So Councillor Friel, are you finished?
Yeah, we keep it on the agenda. And I need clarity about Harold's Cross.
Okay, come on. This is one motion. Councillor Conroy.
I just
Councillor Conroy, then Councillor Dunn.
Councillor Conroy.
Thank you, Chair. And I wish to thank